Good morning, Toastmasters. My topic today is extremely germane to educators all across the country. This year, I have caught students randomly saying the number 6 or 7 or sometimes both as they're going down the hallway. I have walked into math classrooms, dropping in at the elementary level to find students frantically scribbling 6, 7 in all of the margins of their worksheets. And even in the quick room, I once found a student who had his head down covering his work. It wasn't suspicious at all. I went over, asked the young man to sit up, and found that he had been answering a literacy question with one line to one margin to the other, 6, 7. He had to retry that problem. This is something that we can get mad about as educators, or we can lean into it with a sense of humor. But the number 6, 7 themselves can also give us a window into some culturally significant points that we share as Americans. And that's the part that I'm going to delve into with you today. We're going to uncover the hidden history of the numbers 6, 7, and you are welcome to roll your eyes as needed. We'll start with the number 6. I received this book, The Six, from my son as a Mother's Day present last year. It is an outstanding book that talks about the first 6 women in the NASA astronaut program. They started in 1978. Prior to that, women had been excluded from NASA as there were many questions about whether or not women constitutionally could perform in space. The first women included Sally Ride, Judy Resnick, Anna Fisher, Shannon Lucid, Rhea Seddon, and Kathy Sullivan. Sally Ride is third from the right, and she was actually the first woman in space. She was also a PhD in physics, which was another unusual accomplishment for women back in 1978. Also happens to be the year I was born, so it speaks to my heart. I would say that Judy Resnick, who is third from the left, beautiful black curly hair, she was a concert-level pianist. She also was fluent in Hebrew. She was an engineer, and sadly, she died in the Challenger space explosion in 1986, which I watched in my 2nd grade classroom on TV. These women broke the gender barrier in science. They had to endure many questions from reporters that were based in sexist language, whether intentional or unintentional. They endured it with a calm grace and dignity and went on to prove that there is a place for women in space. Moving on to the number 7, we have the 7 wonders of the ancient world. These have been speaking to my heart as someone who loves archaeology since I was a small child. The only one that still remains intact today are the pyramids at Giza. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon may be myth. Historians and archaeologists are not 100% sure that they were actually real. We have the statue of Zeus, completely ornate statue dedicated to the god of thunder and the sky, the ancient Greeks. We have the Temple of Artemis, which was known to house many works of art, the Mausoleum at Halicarnassus, and the Colossus of Rhodes, which stood in the city of Rhodes. And even though it was the tallest statue at the time, when you see it in illustrations and drawings, you think that thing must have been huge. It was actually about 2/3 the size of the Statue of Liberty. But at the time, I can only imagine what ancient sailors thought as they sailed into Rhodes. It must have seemed just massively impressive. And of course, we have the Lighthouse of Alexandria. Alexandria was known for its books, its writing, and that lighthouse was incredibly important in guiding sailors in to what was, even back then, an incredibly busy seaport. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the number 13, which is today's date. 6 plus 7 does equal 13. And we are talking about the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. This amendment, incredibly important, was ratified on December 6, 1865, and ended slavery legally in the United States, except as a legal form of punishment. In the aftermath of the Civil War, this was an important first step, and it's a journey that we are still on today. And one of my favorite numbers, 42. 42 was the number of Jackie Robinson. And Jackie Robinson, in 1947, he became the first African-American baseball player in Major League Baseball. The general manager of the Dodgers was Ricky Branch. And Ricky, we are going to just back up here for a moment. Ricky Branch was ready to pull in players. He wanted to integrate Major League Baseball, but he knew that he had to find the right person to do so. Jackie Robinson was chosen not only for his talent, but for his character and his courage. He even agreed to no fighting back within the first 2 years of his contract. He was Rookie of the Year in 1947, and today he is really thought of as someone who had an incredible amount of dignity when facing intense pressure. And of course, 1967, an important year, the year of love, the summer of love. You had the Supreme Court ruling of Loving v. Virginia, which made interracial marriages legal all across the United States for the first time. It is difficult to think that that was not very far removed from when I was born, that interracial marriages, which I take for granted today, was illegal. It blows my mind. And of course, we had race riots in Detroit as the civil rights movement really started to kick into high gear. So I would recommend that rather than getting frustrated in your classrooms, your hallways, and your quick room, that you lean into the humorous as well as the more serious side of 6-7. We can use this phenomenon to teach students about important historical points. We can use it to laugh with them, as we will today at Laura Wilder. It is an underground 6-7 dress-up day. The students will no doubt catch on to this very quickly. And you can enjoy the humor of the webmaster of South Dakota, or maybe it was just the universe in general, because this was my authorization code a week ago. I appreciate you listening to my speech about 6-7. And I hope that you approach it with a sense of humor and get a little laugh in it with your day. Thank you, and have a nice day.